What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to part 3. Now, this doesn't need any introduction, and this episode is actually going to be pretty action-packed, so if you guys are hyped for that, definitely make sure to slap the like button, seeing as the like goal for today's video is going to be another 500 likes. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Naruto would immediately rush in at the direction of Gaara using blinding speeds, the levels that Rock Lee himself would have actually displayed when he was able to actually face off against Gaara. Now, the way that I see this playing out is obviously Naruto will start off kind of like speed blitzing Gaara and essentially throwing kunais and things of that sort. And Gaara's sand won't exactly be able to keep up, and after a little bit of time, Gaara would eventually end up having to use his perfect technique for defense, right? His sand coffin, or not sand coffin, but his sand spear or some shit, right? Where he pretty much ended up creating like a dome of sand that's able to protect him from any quote unquote attack. Right now, as Naruto sees Gaara use this attack, Naruto would decide that he needs some destructive capabilities in order to be able to destroy it. So what does Naruto do? Naruto proceeds to hold one hand out and create the Rasengan with both of his hands. He doesn't need a shadow clone this time because of the help of his father being there, helping him truly perfect the Rasengan and not have to rely on a clone. Not to mention, he has the help of his mother there, who would actually make it a lot easier for Naruto to actually be able to control the abilities of Kurama and not let him affect his chakra pool, right? But as this is happening, Minato would be watching up on the stands with a big smile on his face, and Sasuke would end up arriving on the arena, right? But Naruto would immediately proceed to smash this Rasengan straight into the cavern that, Gaara finds himself in, and Gaara would then get hit point blank with a Rasengan with minimalized power, mind you, because of the fact that it hit through like sand, like very, very hard kind of sand. And once Gaara sees this, he would immediately begin flipping out. But this time there is no such thing as a plan to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village, so instead partial transformation would end up occurring, and Gaara would reveal himself for everybody to see. Many of the Kage would be up on the stands, and the Hokage Rasa would actually decide that it's about time he steps in. However, Minato would hold a hand out and say that not to worry. His son will more than likely be able to handle it, and if anything goes too off the rails, they will both be willing to step in if they truly need it. Rasa would sit down with a little bit of a that's your son's funeral out there, and Minato would just have this confident smile, knowing that his son would be just fine. He doesn't need his help. He doesn't need anybody right now. Right now, he just needs to believe himself, and the last thing that Naruto needs is to see that his father is trying to intervene in his fight. And so, Minato ends up pretty much just watching from the sidelines as Gaara would rush in at Naruto and begin to gain the upper hand, finally being able to match the levels of speed that Naruto would be able to display. Gaara's anger would begin rising more and more to the surface until eventually he would make it to the partial transformation state, where he has one arm transformed fully in the sand state, and one of his eyes already looks like the eye of that of Shikaku. Now, Naruto this time around can't exactly whip out Gamabunta just because he's in an arena, so this time around he has to end things off a lot faster. And so, what is Naruto going to do? Well, Naruto's going to go in and pretty much bait Gaara with a Rasengan, right? Like, he uses the Rasengan, Gaara is able to dodge it, and mid-air, when Naruto's getting flung back, he would be able to tap onto Gaara's back, right? Gaara's back gets tapped, and once Gaara feels that, he would pretty much end up hitting Naruto away, sending him flying backwards as Naruto would land on the ground, and Gaara would then try to pretty much like jump on top of him and crush him with his fist. It would almost appear as if it would have worked. However, Naruto would have been able to place the flying Raijin seal mark on the back of Gaara, using the ability of the flying thunder god to appear right behind Gaara, as Gaara is completely shocked, and Naruto would just say Rasengan, smashing a point blank Rasengan onto the back of Gaara, who was completely unexpecting anything that would have just occurred right now, right? And so Gaara would be like, what? How? Like, the very much so stereotypical, like, how could this have happened moment in anime would pretty much be this. Like, this is so stereotypical, but as Minato watches his son use that attack, he would have a little bit of a flashback to when he actually had to defend the village from the masked man, and he actually ended up using an attack very much so similar to what his son just did. So Minato would feel two mixed emotions. Number one, he feels extremely proud of his son, and number two, he feels extremely proud of his son. I mean, there's nothing else. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. He's just extremely proud of Naruto. And I mean, what can he say? I mean, Naruto just pulled off a S-level shinobi kind of feat. Something that he was already doing at his age as well. However, you know, his son is different. He not only had to deal with normal chakra pools, but he has to deal with Kurama messing with his. That's why it took Naruto a little longer to get to this point. However, it's still not mastered and it still does need a little bit of work, maybe a couple more months. But regardless though, Naruto would be able to defeat Gaara, and suddenly we would now hear the crowd begin to cheer for Naruto. They begin to cheer Lord Ford's son, you know, like, and you know, they would all just begin to cheer the name Naruto, with everybody saying, yeah, what else could we have expected from the son of the fourth Hokage? Minato, you know, like they start cheering him, and Naruto doesn't feel like Boruto does, where he like kind of resents his dad. Naruto begins to have a smile on his face and cheer for his dad as well. He's like, yeah. And from here, you know, Rasa would go down, check up on Gaara, see if he's fine, and he would be, as Rasa would end up saying, good, get up. And from here, Gaara would make his way back towards the like the arena area where you watch, as Sasuke and Neji would both actually be called up to the stands. Now, when they end up arriving on the battlefield, the proctor looks to each of them and tells them the rules before just being all like, Hajime! And immediately Sasuke would start the battle off by saying, I guess now we get to see who's better, the Byakugan or the Sharingan. And this is where things get a little bit iffy. Because obviously everybody knows that in the beginning, people were always claiming that, you know, Sasuke versus Neji would have actually been a great fight. And while yes, I do believe Sasuke versus Neji in the original timeline would have actually been a very phenomenal fight, I don't think that it would have actually ended up being that great of a fight this time around, only because of the simple fact that Sasuke this time around is not at the same power level that he would have been in the original. This time around, he has the training of both Itachi and Fugaku under his belt, and during that month of training, he would have been more than fortunate enough to actually train alongside Naruto during that time to pretty much end up racking his strength up to levels far beyond what many people would have considered natural for his age. But because of this, Sasuke and Naruto would both be prodigies beyond what they were in the original, with Sasuke having powers along the lines of pretty much heavy like Sasuke, right? Because keep in mind, Sasuke will have a full access to the 3 Tomoe at this point. And I do believe that Sasuke's jutsu and stuff like that, chakra control and, you know, intellect will probably be just as hardened as it would have been in that timeline. So I think that Sasuke's training this time around would have been extremely beneficial, and seeing Sasuke face off against Neji would pretty much be nothing but a one-sided stomp, where Neji would do his absolute best to keep Sasuke at bay and try to land a couple of 64 palm attacks, but it just wouldn't work. Sasuke would outspeed Neji, Sasuke would outthink Neji, Sasuke would outjutsu Neji, and pretty much in every general sense of the word, Sasuke would essentially just be superior to Neji, and there would not be a single thing that Neji could do about it. Like, that's just me keeping it 100% a buck with you guys. Neji is 100% getting his balls fondled in this fight, and that's that. Like, that's it, guys. Neji takes the L this time around. Sorry, Neji, you're donut. You take another L. But one good thing to come out of this is we get to find out who's stronger between the likes of Naruto and Sasuke, because that's the next fight that comes up. And due to the fact that there is no such thing as the destruction of the Hidden Leaf Village arc, we won't even have to deal with that stuff. So we can just jump straight over to the finals and see who's going to become a Chunin this time around. And so the battle would commence. Immediately the proctor would say, Hajime, as both contestants would pretty much look at each other and they would pretend to chuckle at each other, saying that this is finally it, with Sasuke saying, yeah, so you better give me your best performance, Naruto. As from here, Naruto goes on to activate his Sharingan, and I'm so sorry. No, Naruto doesn't go on to activate his Sharingan, but Naruto just goes on to pretty much create a couple of clones, and Sasuke would be the one to activate his Sharingan, right? Now, Sasuke would immediately rush in at the direction of Naruto, with Naruto coming in just as fast, and they would both clash fists. Now, as they're both clashing fists, Sasuke and Naruto would begin trying to push back and like try to beat the other person, but it just wouldn't be happening. Until finally, Naruto's fist would begin pushing Sasuke's back, and Sasuke would jump back before weaving a bunch of hand signs and using a fire style jutsu to keep Naruto at bay. Naruto would dodge this by using an earth style jutsu to create a mud wall, and from here he would jump up into the air throwing a bunch of shuriken at the direction of Sasuke, which Sasuke would counterattack with his own pair of shuriken himself. Naruto from here would begin running around the arena, creating a bunch of shadow clones as they slowly begin to go after Sasuke, and Sasuke would begin to pretty much begin dismantling each and every single one of them. Naruto, as of this current moment, would then finally decide that it's about time that he goes on to try to defeat Sasuke, and so would create a Rasengan in hand. Sasuke would as well, creating a Chidori, and both would end up rushing in at each other, clashing the respective attacks. Now, as this clash happens, a burst of wind and energy would shoot out towards the arena, like towards the area where everybody's watching, and it would be a truly amazing spectacle to behold. But eventually it would be realized that both of their attacks are pretty much hard countering each other, and they would pretty much end up jumping away to create some distance. Naruto, however, in that split moment would have actually placed a Raijin marking on the hand of Sasuke, and Sasuke, not being none the wiser, would not be at all aware of this. However, Sasuke would have also had a plan brewing himself, which essentially consists of the Chidori stream. Now, Sasuke during this time would then begin charging his electricity, and he would then act as if he's gonna have to get close to Naruto until bam, he shoots the Chidori, but midway through Sasuke's Chidori about to hit him like literally light speed, Naruto blitzes out of the way right in front of Sasuke as Naruto goes on to land a devious uppercut straight onto the face of Sasuke, fixing his chin, or actually ruining his chin, much earlier than he would have in the original canon timeline, right? And Sasuke would go flying back as Naruto would say that's checkmate, and he would stand above Sasuke with a kunai in his hand straight to the nape of his neck, and the base of his neck, right? And Sasuke would pretty much end up getting up and being like, "You win, Naruto. I guess now we know who's stronger." As you know, the shadow clone would disappear, and Sasuke would be standing behind Naruto with his Sharingan active and his kunai to the nape of Naruto's neck, and actually nape this time. Naruto would chuckle before saying that, that was a dirty trick, Sasuke, and Sasuke would smirk, saying that everything is allowed in battle. Naruto goes on to pretty much get up slowly as he lifts up the arm of Sasuke and claims Sasuke to be the winner, right? Now, Sasuke would end up getting the approval and appraise of Fugaku, and Minato would go on to pretty much call Sasuke the Chunin of the year. Like, he would proceed to promote him in front of everybody, as everybody would begin cheering on the Hyuga, what clan is Sasuke a part of again? The Uchihas, right? They would go on to pretty much begin praising the Uchihas. And in this moment, everybody would kind of begin having smiles on their faces. They would all essentially be extremely happy. And because of this, nothing could really be going wrong as of this moment, right? But since nothing is going wrong, this is actually where we get to a very, very much so interesting point in the story. Because Minato being alive and the Akatsuki's leader actually being defeated way earlier than it would be in canon would actually end up affecting a lot of things in the story that maybe in the original would not have mattered. Now, I kind of understand the dilemma that the writers of Boruto have ran into, which is essentially the lack of conflict element of the story. Because with Naruto being the most powerful shinobi in the planet, there's nobody that could essentially cause conflict knowing that a shinobi like that exists. Obviously, everybody would pretty much live in in fear. And due to the fact that Minato is actually the strongest shinobi of all time, nobody exactly wants to start conflict with the Hidden Leaf Village. So all of the missions that Naruto would end up going on for the 3-year time skip that we would have gotten in the original, such as the Tsunade retrieval arc and or the Sasuke retrieval arc, we would actually end up not having either of those. And because Sasuke wouldn't be a target for the curse mark, he would not end up actually getting access to the curse mark stage of anything. And so because of that, we kind of end up running into this strange dilemma where essentially nothing happens because Minato is just too strong to let anything happen. They're living in a time of peace way earlier than they would have in canon, just due to the fact that the Hidden Leaf Village is prospering so well, and it's actually, instead of fighting against the enemy nations, they would actually be helping them prosper just as much as they are as well, giving them a couple of hints, secrets, and trading a couple of, necessities and elements with each other to essentially grow off of each other and produce stronger and more capable ninjas. Technology would begin advancing throughout these 3 years, and due to this, we would actually end up getting to a very, very cool era where the only real threat to the story would be the Akatsuki. But ladies and gentlemen, mind you that the first threat of the Akatsuki was essentially the capturing of Gaara. But this time around, Rasa's there, and their ninjas would actually be a lot more developed than in canon. So this time around, Deidara not only has to face off against Gaara, but he actually also has to face off against Rasa, right? And do I believe that Deidara could defeat the Kage and previous Kage? No. I don't see a world where that happens, where Deidara is capable of defeating 2 sand users at the same time. 1, yes. 2, absolutely not. So this time around, Deidara loses, and the only threat to now face off against would be Sasori. However, due to the fact that Lady Chiho would be there, I think Sasori would actually be handled relatively quickly. And because Deidara and Sasori would be taken out, that would leave us with not too many threats, considering Itachi's out of the Akatsuki and the leader Obito isn't even there. And since the leader Obito isn't there, Pain is not taking any advice from Zetsu. And so what is Pain's goal? To essentially capture all the nine-tailed beasts and make the world kind of live in this state of peace. However, one thing that Pain would have started to notice during this time would have actually been something very interesting. Due to the fact that Minato became Kage, nations have actually kind of stopped conflict with each other almost altogether, and it almost seems as though the organization of the Akatsuki isn't truly needed as much as it was a couple of years ago. Pain would end up actually going to visit the Leaf Village and having a conversation with Minato, which would end with Minato sharing his own idea and philosophy with Pain, and them both not being able to truly come to an understanding, but at least respect each other's and what each other has been able to accomplish with their set goals. And because of this, I don't think Nagata would actually end up trying to destroy the village or trying to actually start the 4th Great Shinobi World War. I think that this, generally speaking, would actually be where what if Naruto was Minato's, what if Naruto had his parents, would actually end up ending. Because without conflict, there is no story. And yeah, that pretty much concludes What If Minato and Kushina Survived. Do you guys like the fact that this story was so fast paced and everything ended up good for our yellow haired, orange, puppy, shinobi, unpredictable ninja? Or do you guys hate it and you guys actually wanted more conflict and you guys actually needed more conflict? Well, let me know down below in the comments. And with that all out of the way, it has been your boy Xehther, and I am out. Peace.